War is a terrible thing, and yet it is something that often dominates the headlines in many newspapers. Therefore, it is important to know how to discuss war in English. Hi, welcome to Jen's Jyugyou. My name is Jen, and today I'm going to teach you 17 expressions connected to war. Our first expression for today is the military. The military might also be known as the armed forces. The military or armed forces is a group created by a government that is for people who wish to fight to protect their country or to sign up for peacekeeping missions. In Canada, we have three main branches of the military. We have the Army, the Navy, and the Air Force. Expression number 2 is soldier. A soldier is someone who is a member of the army. They are responsible for fighting in a war. My father was a soldier in World War II. Many times when talking about groups of soldiers, we also refer to them as troops. Expression number 3 is a civilian. A civilian is the opposite of a soldier. A civilian is a person who is not a member of the armed forces. They are not directly involved in fighting a war. They are just average, everyday citizens. Expression number 4 is casualty. A casualty is a victim of war. It means that due to war, someone is either severely injured or killed. Expression number 5 is civilian casualties, and this specific expression is actually heard a lot in the news. A civilian casualty means someone who died as a result of war or was injured as a result of war, even though they are not a soldier. So if an innocent child gets injured during the war, they are a civilian casualty. Expression number 6 is death toll. Death toll means the number of people who have died or have been killed as a result of a natural disaster, an accident, or war. In the news, you can often hear expressions like the death toll reached a certain number or the death toll is climbing. These are expressions that are often used to refer to the people who are continuing to die as a result of an ongoing war. Expression number 7 is weapon. A weapon is a tool or an object which is used to fight a war, something that soldiers will use in order to attack or defend themselves. Examples of common weapons during a war are guns, missiles, rockets, bombs, bayonets, and grenades. Expression number 8 is ammunition. Ammunition is an object which is fired from a weapon. A common example of ammunition would be bullets for a gun. Sometimes the combination of a weapon plus ammunition is referred to arms. If someone has a gun with bullets in it, you could say that they are armed, which is where the expression army comes from. Expression number 9 is allies or enemies. An ally is someone who is on the same side during a war, a country that agrees to help and support another country during a war. They are allies. The opposite of that, your opponent or person you're fighting against, is your enemy. Expression number 10 is defend versus attack. During a war, if you are on the defense, you are defending a country. You are doing your best to protect its people and keep them safe. The opposite of that is to attack, to be on the offense, to be assaulting or bombing or shelling someone else. A word that has been in the news a lot lately connected to the ongoing war in the Ukraine is onslaught. A headline caught my attention recently. It said, "Brutal onslaught rages in Ukraine as Russia expands assaults in key cities." Assault and onslaught are both synonyms for attack. And brutal is an adjective that you might hear connected to war because it means something that is very violent and rough and cruel. Expression number 11 is invasion or invade. Invasion is the noun and invade is the verb. An invasion is when a large number of military, soldiers, and so on go and attack a different country that does not belong to them in order to try and gain control of that area. Unfortunately, about a week ago, Putin's army invaded the Ukraine. Expression number 12 is to flee or to evacuate. To flee or to evacuate mean to run away and get away from danger, to escape from a dangerous situation. So if there is a war in a certain country, headlines will often read that civilians are fleeing the country, or due to the intensifying crisis, governments are evacuating their citizens. Expression number 13 is refugees. A refugee is a person who needs to flee their country due to war or danger of persecution. Unfortunately, during a war, there are often many refugees who are left homeless and need assistance. Expression number 14 is protest. A protest is a type of demonstration or march where many people get together to show their support of a certain issue and to try to get the government to act on a specific issue. Oftentimes when there is a war, there are lots of anti-war protests. The word anti means that you are against something, you don't want it. Expression number 15 is sanctions. Sanctions are a type of penalty that one government puts on the government of another country. So sanctions are things that a government will specifically do in order to cause harm or damage or crisis to a particular country or the political leader in that country. Sanctions include things such as export and import bans, which will affect the economy of the country. They also include things such as travel bans or freezing assets. When discussing sanctions connected to the concept of war, the verb that you will usually hear is impose. The US imposed sanctions on Russia. Expression number 16 is ceasefire. Ceasefire is literally what it sounds like. Cease, which means to stop, and fire, which means to shoot weapons. So a ceasefire is a temporary time in which the enemies and allies have both agreed to stop fighting so that peace talks can continue. Another word for ceasefire that you might hear is a truce. A good way to try and end a war is to have a ceasefire or a truce so that the two parties involved can talk about how to create peace. Expression number 17 is a peace treaty. A treaty is an official document, an official agreement or contract that the people involved in a war will sign, agreeing to stop the war and to end the war, to bring peace. So today, you have learned more than 17 expressions connected to war. I hope that this war vocabulary will be helpful for you when trying to understand the news surrounding terrible, terrible war. And now it's time for Question of the Day. For today's question of the day, in the comments below, please tell me about any headlines or news that you have read or heard connected to war. What kind of vocabulary words could you see and hear? Thank you so much for watching this lesson. If you found it useful, please subscribe to Jen's Jyugyou and give this video a thumbs up. Good luck with your English studies. See you in the next lesson.